Hello, and welcome to Decks on the Cheap. We all have bulk cards, and we all have cards in our binders that really are just sitting there doing nothing. So I thought it'd be fun to do a segment on my channel where it's cheap decks from just what you have lying around. So today I'm going to be profiling a cheap Alolan Muk deck. First off, we will start off with 4 of the Dark Alolan Grimers. Their free attack division is a very good attack. Search your deck for an Alolan Grimer and put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. It's a really good and powerful starting move. Slippery Sludge, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused for double colorless. If you have to use it, confusion is always a decent thing. We've learned that with Alolan Muk GX, but we're going to start off with 4 Alolan Grimer. Next off, we're going to do 3 Alolan Muk GX. It has Chemical Breath, 10 plus 70 more for each status condition, and we'll eventually show you how we're going to be inflicting those status conditions. It has Crunch for 2 dark and a double colorless, 120 and discards an energy, a little bit of disruption, which is cool. And then this to date has the only free GX attack, Tri-Hazard, and it's switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of their active Pokemon. The new active Pokemon is now burned, paralyzed, and poisoned. So that's pretty good as a stall tactic, and it just hurts your opponent. And if they happen to be unlucky and flip 2 tails in a row, they'll be continued to burn, and then Chemical Breath will deal a lot of damage. So we have that. Next up, we have a single copy of the non-GX Alolan Muk. It has the ability, which is the only thing that we're actually going to be playing this card for because we won't be playing any Psychic Energy, is Power of Alchemy. Each basic Pokemon in play, in each player's hand, and in each player's discard pile has no abilities. This is actually really good for a lot of reasons. A, it just stops basic Pokemon. B, as a kind of niche thing, if it's going up against a Darkrai GX deck, since it doesn't allow abilities in the discard pile, Darkrai cannot use its Resurrection ability. So this is actually a pretty decent card. It'll shut off your opponent's Tapu Leles and stuff. And remember, we're going for a deck on the cheap, so this is pretty good. So we have that. Next, we have 3 copies of Salandit. We're basically just going to be using this card for its evolution of Salazzle. As seen here, we have 3 copies of Salazzle. We're just using it for its ability Hot Poison. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may leave your opponent's active Pokemon burned and poisoned. This is pretty good. It'll at least do 30 damage, but when paired with Chemical Breath, that's going to be doing 150 and then 180. It kind of hits some of the basic EX and GX magic numbers. Next, we are running 1 copy of Oranguru. You can use it for its psychic attack, but we're mainly having this here as some draw support for Instruct. Once during your turn before you attack, you may draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. We have 1 copy of Darkrai. Has Hypnoblast, your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep, and Dark Raid. If your opponent already has used their GX attack, this attack does 80 more. I have this in here in case we're fighting a Alolan Ninetales deck, and just Dark Raid in general is pretty good if your opponent uses their GX attack early in game. Because for Darkness and a double colorless, you're doing 160 on a basic one prize attacker. So that Dark Raid is pretty good. Last but not least, we're running an old classic. We're using the Oblivion Wing Evital. Attach one Dark Energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Does 30 damage. It's good for energy acceleration. Everyone likes energy acceleration. So this is our Pokemon lineup. These are all pretty cheap cards. The Alolan Grimers, if they're non-holo, I kind of like to bleed. I had some bling cards, so I didn't like this, but 25 cents a piece for all the basics, 50 cents for this, maybe $1 for Evital because it's a little old, Dark Rise maybe 50 cents, or Endur's $1. You can also get it in the Incineroar Structure deck as a non-holo. Alolan Muks are like $1, $2 a piece. So these are all pretty cheap so far. And that's what we're going off of, is we're going off of cheap, effective decks. They won't be the most effective decks, but they are just kind of to have fun with friends and whatnot. If you're like, hey, let's build something cheap and something fun. So next off, we have our supporter lineups. We're running 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Be self-explanatory. They're about maybe $1 a piece. Probably one of your more expensive uncommons, but it's needed. For some hand refresh, we're running 2 copies of Shauna. Shauna is still pretty cheap. The most recent set was in Generations as a reprint. Also getting it in the new full art for the Super Collection box. We're running 1 copy of Lily. Draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. If it's your first turn, draw until you have 8. We're running 2 copies of Professor Kukui. Draw 2 cards. Deal an extra 20 damage. We're running 2 copies of Acerola. Both for our Salazzles if they get damaged, so we can reuse them, and our Alolan Muks. We already have a Grimer prepared, and we just scoop up our stuff and, play some new stuff. 1 Wick for some hand disruption, because hand disruption is always good. As I said, we're doing this on the cheap, and ends are like $5-6 a piece at the moment, so we're doing things that you can do on a pretty cheap budget. Our last supporter is 1 copy of Pokemon Fan Club. Search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. It'll get you your Grimers, your Salazzles, all of your basics. Next up, we're going to be looking at items. Yay, everyone gets to watch me struggle. Okay. So next, we will be looking at items. First off, we're running 1 copy of De-Evolution Spray. You evolve one of your evolved Pokemon and put the highest stage evolution into your hand. Pokemon can evolve this turn. Basically, this is here for the Salazzles. What you want to do is you want to have a second Salandit out on the bench. You de-evolve your Salazzle and you put it right back on. We're running 1 copy of this because you'll see the other stuff we're running in a moment. So there's that. We're running 1 copy Field Blower. Choose up to 2 in any combination of Pokemon tool and stadium card in play. We are running 2 copies of Switch. The reason why we're running 2 copies of Switch is basically we're dealing with a lot of high retreat cost Pokemon. So we need a way, if they get dragged out by Guzma or something, to do that. We're running 1 special charge, as you'll see. As you did see, a lot of our Pokemon requires 2 colorless energy, so we're running double colorless, so we want to recycle that. 2 copies of Choice Band. Choice Band's just good, does 30 more damage to EX and GX when you're attacking them. 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher. Either grab a Pokemon from your discard pile and put it in your hand, or put 3 into the deck. We're running 3 copies of Super Scoop Up. This is the other way we're going to get our Salandit and Salazzle back into our hand and replay them. Flip a coin on heads, put one of your Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your hand. We're running 2 copies of Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards from your hand if you do search for 1 Pokemon. We're mainly going to be using this for our Salazzles to find and to get. We're running 3 copies of Heavy Ball. As you saw, the Alolan Grimers and Alolan Muks, they all have a retreat cost of 3 and 4, so Heavy Ball's active. Basically, search your deck for a Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 or more, and reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck. And then we're running 2 copies of Reverse Valley. It's good because it gives an extra 10 damage to our Dark Pokemon, which further increases our numbers on our Alolan Muk, and it's good. You can also, kind of for just a fun little taunt, if you're going up against a Steel deck, and the Steel deck has Reverse Valley as well, you give them the Dark boost, and you give yourself the Steel boost. Any which way, it actually kind of cancels itself out, but it's kind of a fun little trolly thing to do. All of these cards here, they're like, except for maybe Choice Band, they're going to be 50 cents or less, so it's pretty cheap for these. And as I said, this is just kind of a cheap deck tutorial. Next, for energy, we're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 dark energy. And then we're running 4 double colorless energy. And that is the deck.